Now we have the third. So as I was sharing earlier, from 3 to 5 will be focused purely on golden filter, right? And to start with the golden filter, throughout the whole process of us launching WriterZen, we have so many questions regarding our KGR, why ON title, why is ON title so important, why do you use ON title to figure out the long tail keyword, right? And I think a lot of people actually don't really understand the idea, the key idea on why did we choose ON title to be sort of one of the key indicator in the matrix when we create KGR, right? So first let me go into the introduction of the old KGR, right, really quick. So the reason why we figure out KGI is this. We want to figure out a way to help any content marketer or content writer to do their keyword research without even the need of all this keyword difficulty or backlinks or whatever. Because the key is the moment you figure out the seed keyword, you will want to be able to find the list of the long tail keyword, right? And when doing long tail keyword, there's so many different tools out there, but there's no tool that actually tells you the long tail keyword you're looking for is high in competition or low in competition, high in volume or low in volume, all at the same tool, right? And so that's the reason why when we come up with the full original KGR. So the idea of KGR come from Doug, from Doug. He came up with the original idea of KGR, where he kind of integrate between own title and search volume. And in my previous talk, I was actually talking about how that was right. The thinking about it was right, but it's not enough. It's not enough in the fact that it cannot scale, right? Any number of search volume that beyond 250, you can probably search about his formula on the internet. But it's the essentially any number of search volume go beyond 250 won't work with that, with if you keep using the same KGR methodology. So we came up with our own configuration, right? Our own algorithm. The way we do it is that we try to scale up the scale where because there's a few problems when it comes to this. The keyword with own title, high own title, and high search volume. Low own title and very low search volume. I'll go a bit more detail into this later on because I don't think this is a very good way of explaining it. But we try to figure out a configuration that would fit with all categories. So essentially, we come up with our original KGI. But the problem with the original KGI, it has quite a bit of flaws, and I will go in that later on as well. So, but before I go to all that, let me just share a bit of why it's so important that ON title exists on our tool, right? The first, we need to understand the demand and supply in Google's world, right? Um, you'll see why in a moment, why I'll talk about economy of supply and demand first, right? So supply and demand exist in a market, right? We all know that in any economy, supply and demand is almost the core fundamentals of how things run. So demand works as consumer like you guys have some demands, and right away there will be supplier on the other end trying to supply with that demand, right? So the demand, as the demand go higher, the supply also have to go higher with it as well. So it will create different zoning of each of the product, service, or cause that you are trying to target, right? So the ideal zone for any business is called niche business. So let's say an industry like construction. Now, construction is a very big sort of like place, right? A big industry. So in the construction industry, usually the demand for construction are very high. So here's demand, here's low, here's high, and the supply for construction are also very high. So high and high, it will go into this zone, and I call that potential zone, right? And then in construction, there will be some area where the demand are very low, meaning that not many people, maybe it's seasonal, not many people are actually looking for those services. But a lot of suppliers think that, oh man, I think that, because I have this pain point, so I think that the demand for this is very high. So a lot of people try to go into that, which create this thing called the red zone. Very high supply yet very low demand. So a lot of supplier try to fit with a very little and a few people who want that service. So it create a price zone that goes really go down. So you don't want to be in this area, right? And then there's a zone where the demand are low but supply are also low. So you kind of make money but not really. So you make a little bit money, you can survive, but not so much, right? So I call that the neutral zone, right? And the last, which is the ideal zone, will be here, which is demand are very high. A lot of people are looking for this service. So many people are looking, but the supplier, maybe it's because it's so new, because it's something I just created, is a trend, and supplier in this area are still very low. And this is ideal zone because a lot of people are looking, and if you're gonna be the supplier for this area, you're gonna have a great time making money. So you want to be in this zone, right? It's the same with economy. The same supply and demand rule will also apply for in Google's economy, right? And in Google's economy, demand are actually represented by your keyword, right? This is very fundamental, and I really need to share this. And I think it's super important for your understanding of why in your process of doing keyword research. You have to think of keyword as the demand on Google platform. There's really just three players when it comes to this market. There's users who are consumer. There's Google, which is a platform and is represent the market, and there's supplier, which is websites, right? So the website. I think something wrong with my camera. Oh, it's still here, but it doesn't seems to appear over here. All right. Anyway, so the demand will be the supplier are represented by websites, right? So then the user show their demands, and this demand could be what? This demand could be a product that they're looking for. This demand could be a service that they're looking for. These demands could be a, a kind of information they're looking for, the kind of knowledge, right? So if you look at this screen, you'll see that demand represented by keyword. The way they show the demand is by typing their keyword onto the Google search, which is the platform. And the platform try to connect this demand to the supplier, which is the website, right? So then a demand that is high, meaning how hot the demand is, are defined by the search volume of that demand, right? For example, a keyword like indoor plants that has search volume of 65,600 search volume data, that means that the demand for that particular keyword are really high, right? But at the same time, on website wise, there are also a lot of people are trying to fit with that number of demand, and just the same as demand where the keyword represented by search volume, supplier are actually represented by own title, right? Why? Because you see, by definition, let's go in here. A Google, what is own title? Own title is a Google search operator that allow user to restrict the search engine result to only those pages with search terms specified in the website title. For example, own title virus definition will return only document that contain the word virus and definition in the web page. This is according to Webpopedia, right? So essentially what it means is the all entitled operator tells the number of articles that indexed by Google and rank on the subs, and this will also be the number of articles that directly compete with your content. Those title contains the keyword we will target, determining from the search result one can figure out whether the keyword will face heavy competition and struggle to rank well or not. So essentially what it means is the keyword, if it is contained by in the website title, it will also means that that website is trying to rank for that keyword. Well, by 90% of the time, right? If any website are trying to rank for certain keywords, they will, the first thing they do is they try to put that keyword in their title. So what it means essentially is own title is the indicator of how many websites are trying to fit with the demand, which is keyword, from the users, right? So now, when I say it that way, I think it's very clear that you sort of get understand the very fundamental of what keyword research actually means. You have to look for keywords that is very high in demand yet very low in supply, because that's exactly where, first of all, the platform will try to rank for you quicker, and then second of all, the people, when they see it, if they see the keyword in your title, there's a lot of higher chance that they will click on your title and get inside and read your content. And this is particularly why we in WriterZen put so much effort in building tools that help you with research and planning, right? That is 80% of your battle. And a lot of people are trying to just saying that, oh, you should get AI writing really quickly, and yes, we understand, but that's like the last edge of your content creation. If you keep focusing on captivating, writing content, but you forget that 80% of your battle is in research and planning, because if you don't get the topic and the keyword right, nobody are going to read your content. And if nobody going to read your content, you're not going to get any conversion, right? So going back to this, before I go in details of these four zones, which I just draw out, I'm gonna go back here a little bit to kind of clear out some of the definition in which we use for our tool when it go to own title search, right? So as I was sharing here with you, own title. Now that you understand own title, just think of it as the indicator of how many websites are trying to rank for the keyword in which um, your users are demanding, right? The way we use the own title in our tool is what? Um, own title operator can be used in two ways. The first is quote, and the second is without quote, right? With the first search, essentially what it does is, so let's say here, if you use the operator own title without quote first. So if you do without quote, let's say the keyword is best electric shaver for white man, the result will show links contain, it breaks down the keyword, right? And it will show links that contain best electric shaver for white and man. So they break down that keyword into different parts, and then they will they will then show result that have this concern, right? But if you put the quote in, then the result will turn out exact match. So exact match mean that they will only look for keyword that already have in the title, and whether or not your main keyword will actually be in the title. And this to us is a much better indicator of whether or not that keyword is actually very highly competitive or not, right? You see here, this is a two example. The first is best electric shaver for men. So it returns six results. But if you look at the result, it's completely different from the actual the actual keywords that it's showing. And the second thing is best electric shaver for white men and with quote, and it actually zero own title. So now um, there's nothing that show up in terms of result over here, right? So that is actually the reason why we chose put to run our search operator in our algorithm as in quote instead of quote, right? Um, so that with that cleared out, I'm gonna move into the next one. Now let's go into this zone, the zone, right? I love this graph. So now that you see that supply and demand break down to four different zones, um, we'll go into different zones. So the first zone is we call it red zone. It's very high supply and low demand. High supply means that so many old title, yet the search volume is very low. These are the keywords that please don't, just try to avoid at all costs, because these keywords, for one, is very high in competition. You have to compete with so many websites, but it's actually don't really give you so much of search volume. Maybe you will have to, maybe you will have to do this. Maybe you'll have to do this if you see a seasonal keyword, right? In terms of seasonal keyword, you know that, okay, if in summer winter clothes are not so high in demand, but there's a lot of high supply. Yet you know that by the time winter hits, you will be able to target this keyword, and by the time winter hits, you'll be able to rank. Then maybe that would be fit with your red zone keyword, right? But essentially, with any other case, avoid with all cost. The second zone, I call it potential zone, right? Just like earlier when I was sharing with you, potential zone is where the keyword volume is very high in demand and also very high in supply, right? Also, I see some of the comments saying about the new update of Google's. I will go in that when in a Q&A session where I share with you why it probably won't affect whatever we're building, at least for now, right? So now when we go to potential zone, you have a high in demand and very high in supply. And high in demand and high in supply is exactly where our original KGR um, algorithm fails to detect, because in this potential zone it breaks down into two zones, right? The first zone is maybe the the suppliers are high, maybe on title is about 100, but what if the search volume is exponentially even higher, right? Let's say search volume now for that keyword is 4,000 or 5,000. Now that's a good keyword, because even if you have to compete with 100 other websites that try to target that same keywords, um, you still gonna have a chance to win about 4,000 search volume if you rank on top. So if you are a team, that already have a very strong SEO technical background resources, and you're willing to put in the efforts to compete for the keyword, that keyword is still a very potentially high value keyword. So that is also one of the key thing in this new update for our golden filter, where we are now able to detect keyword that has high potential but maybe a bit more difficult to rank, right? And over here also, when we were doing our data science, our data analysis on millions of different keyword set, and we figure out a way to put a different punishment. Let's say if an all title at 100, then maybe a keyword that has 4,000 search volume would surface. Oh, that's a golden keyword. But if the keyword about 200 all in title, then the search volume proportionally also have to scale with it, and it has to go all the way up to, let's say, 10,000, even to consider to be a golden keyword, right? And so we solve that problems by putting in quite a bit of effort in terms of running a lot of different work and in data analysis, to figure out exactly, to put sort of like one formula to fit all. Right now, we move to the third zone, which we call neutral zone. Neutral zone is where low in demand, low in supply, low competition space, where keyword usually have low number of search volume but also low number of own title. This would make, I think that would make great mass keyword category surgery. So these are the keywords where I call second layers your keywords, right? When you already figure out all your main keywords that you are going to tackle, and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to get all these low hanging fruit keywords. This is gonna be my secondary layers, because I want to be able to just share, kind of put my brands out everywhere possible, and this will be where my focus is when my first round of keywords are already kind of get some accomplishment, right? These are great for mass keyword kind of range. So you pick a bunch of these keywords, you start writing content for it. You don't have to do too much SEO optimization for it, because typically, because it's low competition, you'll be able to rank quite quickly. And it's a great source of organic traffic. And slowly as you build, I call this zone a compound interest zone as well, because it takes a while for you to see the result, but over time you'll see that keyword upon keyword upon keyword start to grow. And these are all usually keywords that have about 10, 20, or 30 search volume per month, very low. But over time, let's say a year or two, you'll see a massive list of keywords that you build up. And this will actually become the backbones of whatever strategy that you're trying to build. Sustainably for your website, right? The last zone I call is ideal zone. Why? Because it's high in demand and yet low in supply. Now, this is the zone where you want to figure out the moment you start any niche, right? You go in there, and you will find, if you see a keyword that have very high search volume, but yet nobody really target into that, particularly for keyword that is longer, right? Any keyword that longer than 3 to 5 keywords would count in keyword. Let's say the keyword I just placed, best shaver, electric shaver for white man, whatever. If that keyword have search volume like 1,000, that's an amazing keyword, right? You almost right away you will be able to rank for those. This zone fit to all team of shape and size, is the most ideal zone to have in your keyword research list, right? It's the first list of keyword you should see, you should reach for when you do your keyword research, right? So when we draw down a map like this, we start to sit. We'll have to sit together and we have to figure out. Okay, we ask ourselves. So what exactly we need to build so that we could fit all of this into one single formula, so to make the work of our user so easy that they just need to click two button and they will see the result right away. And what it is that our user will need, right? Because our user divide into several categories. Some are beginner, some are new to SEO. You don't really have a lot of experience yet. You don't have a lot of resources. You don't have a lot of backlinks or network or other partners to help you to build on top of things. You can't just right away go in there and look for high value keywords like we previously did. And you can't really target potential zone. The only two zones you could probably play around is ideal zone and neutral zone. So with beginners and early pre-intermediate, we place in a filter. We call it high ranking probability. Well, ranking probability meaning that you just need to filter by supply, meaning by own title. So you can filter by ranking probability from 10 to let me show you real quick here. All right, let's go into here. All right. So over here in golden filter, well, start out you have to click um, start out you have to click this button called golden filter. It works exactly the same. Sorry, the same as the button O in title earlier. In the previous version, just click on it. It will appear this. You need how many keyword credits available. Credit. Click confirm for you to proceed. You click on it, and it will appear something like this. So it become a filter. If you click on this filter, we break it down to two tabs. The first tab, like I was sharing earlier, is ranking probability. And ranking probability is for neutral and ideal zone, right? It's almost right away help you filter out by own title. You either can use this or you can use the own title button filter right here. And so over here is the ranking probability of that keyword when it comes, if it's top 20 or top 10 or top like 1, right? Because some keyword that have zero own title, right? And you can pull all the way up to 100. So with this filter, it's very easy for beginner or pre-intermediate, or if you are looking for very quick to rank keywords, and you think, okay, you know what, I want to filter some really cool and good keywords to rank. So as you can see here, as you scroll, there will be an overview report right away for you to see how many keyword if you would put in the top 10 or top 20 or top 30 over here. How many search volume do you have, the average CPC of it, and the average golden score that will appear. All right. So generally you could start with 10. If you click apply. So previously with the KGI, you're not going to be able to get as many keywords as it is now. So now you get up to 2,250 keywords even for this. So one of the things I tend to do just for fun is I'm going to set this as min as 4. So meaning that I only take keyword that has minimum 4 word count. Apply. Let's see how many keyword we have. So still very it's all long tail keyword, right? So this amazing list of keyword that all own title below 10, right? That you probably could look into. And these are keyword that tend to be falling into neutral and ideal zone, right? And you can actually do another things where you sort by volumes. And so for neutral zone, you can set max volume as, let's say, 100, right? Now you have all this neutral zone. Wow, this is actually a lot, right? We can set up 50, 40 even. Now you have a list of 1,575 keywords. That's with search volume below 40, but all entitled all this. So you see indoor plant long skinny lips. You can actually write an article about this and you will get a search volume with this. And it's very simple, just kind of write an article. And while you can even cluster and see how many of this keyword can put together. But you see, 3 clicks, right? And you suddenly see indoor plant leaves turning black. How on earth will you ever be able to find keywords like this if you do it manually, right? For this, it's 3 clicks, and that was our goal, and that's why I was so excited to share with you these new freaking incredible updates that we built. So that's ranking probability. And then now let's go back to the graph. Sorry, when I turn here, the camera seems to tend to not really follow. But anyway, go into to graph, and you'll see that. But we leave out the potential zone, right? A lot of our users are sort of like pro, intermediate, and advanced users. They are fall into this potential zone. Potential zones is where you look for keyword that, you know what, we have a strong SEO team. We already have covered all these ideal and neutral zone. We already know all those keywords. We already rank on all of them. We're looking for higher, more competitive, yet it's still a very good keyword, meaning that it still have very good search volumes, but all entitled slightly higher to so that we could tackle, right? And this is where the golden score comments, right? Before I go into golden score, let me go a bit more in depth on on um, on when we build the golden filter. What are the goals that we try to achieve, right? I kind of go ahead of myself a bit over there. So the old approach, the problems of it, I kind of go through that already. So when we set the new goal filter, we want to assign all the scoring to all and any keywords on a given list, right? Goal 2 is able to distinguish all this, prioritize between different group keyword, like I was sharing earlier, which is neutral, the potential, ideal, or red zone, introducing more ways to filter keyword that would cater SEO level and research phases. So, we are the that would be if you are beginner or pre-intermediate, or you're pro-intermediate and advanced, right? We want to fit and cater with everyone. So this is a new formula, right? I mean, this is the old formula. The old formula looks okay, right? We create this class ratio so we can break them down into three different class. Um, we Three different class, but three different class are too generic. So that's why you're not going to be able to kind of grasp as many keywords as we are able now, right? It's very simple, a function we build in our algorithm. But this is the upgrade sort of formula. We wrote a very long article in which we'll send out right after this webinar. I think it should go live beginning of next week, where we explain very much in details the process in which we come up with this formula, and we want to assign a scoring system for every single keyword, right? For keywords that has low on title, low search volume, low on title, high search volume, high on title, high search volume, very high on title, extremely high on search volume, there has to be a scoring system that normalizes throughout that whole process. All that four different group has to have a scoring because each of them will carry different values, right? So as you can see here, this is a new things. You don't have to understand all the basis behind all this. We did quite a bit of data analyst work, really. I mean, since the beginning, I think we run through about 1 million, 2 million lines of keywords and trying to figure out, okay, if the keyword, different cases, okay, if this keyword fall into this, then how come fall into that, and whatnot. All right, so let's go back to the tool, right? And that's bring us to potential values, right? So potential zone, potential values. Funny enough, as we were growing, we built our formula. We realized that the number that set the limit of the scoring, meaning that this would be the limit line, is at 1.618. Wow, it's 1.657, I think. So it's very close to 1.618. And if after this webinar, I beg you go search for the golden number. It's called 1.618. So just look for the golden ratio and the golden number. It will blow your mind, right? And funny enough, the limit we set out is exactly at 1.618, and that's the name. Why is the name golden filter? So if you can see, as you scroll this slowly toward one, one would be the most ideal scoring. Any keyword that score one, that is in the ideal zone. And as you scrolling toward 1.618, you want to be able to see a bunch of keyword that actually have extremely high potential, meaning that there is own title that's in higher zone, yet still compensate by very high search volume that go along with it. So you see, if I click at 1.618 now, the amount of keyword that we could filter out is only 640. Well, I have to turn this off first, right? It's the 1.618, 1,400 keyword. Apply. Now, if you look at own title, you see, oh, there's this here, but it's near me, so that's probably something I don't want. So if I sort by own title, there will be some keyword that has own title 100 over here, right? Low light indoor hanging plants. That's a pretty good keyword. Search volume 1,900, but own title 100. We still have a golden score within the zone, which is 1.345, right? So now you can't really get own title filter this way yet. And then because with this, we essentially build in that if any own title, let's say if another keyword that has own title 100 and the search volume around 1,000, for example, we actually consider that not to be a golden keyword because we think that the amount of effort you put in to rank that keyword does not equal to the return in which you will get from the search volume represent. Meaning that if you own title 100, any keyword that have search volume less than, let's say, 1,000 will not make it to this list, right? But any keyword that has search volume slightly higher than 1,003, for example, I think that's where we set it for. We will include in this list because those are the keyword where we believe the amount of effort you put in will equal or it will be paid off by the amount of return you get from search volume. So essentially, the stronger your team are, the more you can scroll this all upward, right? Well, in our tool, we go all the way to 1.9, 1.912. All right, you click add on another 61 keywords, so not much different. But as you can see, you could actually score. You can now filter by both, right? Ranking probability and by potential value, right? I mean, if you turn this off and you go by golden score, go all the way up to 100. And as you can see here, 100 is what keyword? Indoor plants. Indoor plants has own title 1.1 million, and the volume search is 135,000. This is the definition of red zone. You do not want to touch this keyword. You will never rank for this keyword, right? So essentially that is golden filter. Let me recap real quick on golden filter. You can now filter by two ways. One is ranking probability, and two is by potential values. Ranking probability is essentially for more of a beginner and pre-intermediate or whichever strategy that you have with a new website. You try to look for very fast ranking keyword that could give you some of the search volume return, and you can begin with some organic traffic. Then you can go in here and you can scroll. Super easy, intuitive to do and to use. You can see the report right away over here, or you can click by potential value. It's my favorite, really, so that you could have a range of very, very good and strong keyword for you to target. Whether or not you are, if you are a stronger SEO background, you already have an established website, and you look for those really high potential keyword, and you believe that you can rank for those, go for it, right? And trust our system. We still trying to make it even better, our algorithm even better, so that we could give you a little more, give you even more insight, right, on this. In future, really, I mean, one of our goal is actually to integrate this and ESKP together. Imagine if when you do research, you click on our keyword research tool and you filter this out and you click a button called generate report, and we are able to sort out a report in which we can suggest you which keyword you can rank in top 10, top 1, top 3, top 5 as an estimate. That would be kind of amazing, right? But not yet for now. It's a very hard problem to tackle, but it would be really cool, I think, to have our users, right? So that's it for the update webinar today.